this is what we're getting to know, that some people have their information registered with SIM cards that do not belong to them. Now, Sam Nate George is Member of Parliament for the Ningo Prampram constituency. He is Deputy Ranking on the Communications Committee of Parliament. He's joining me on the telephone. Mr. George, thank you so much for your time on Ghana Tonight. First off, what exactly is the weakness in here that could have given room for this to happen? People's bios being used to register SIM cards that do not belong to them.
Well, good evening to our viewers. This should not come as a surprise. About a year ago, a year or 10 months ago, I did a Facebook post about this. In fact, when your producer called me about this interview, he remembers very well that I spoke about this, and they granted me an interview at the time where I said the entire registration process, a good thing, but was being done in a very shoddy manner, in a poor manner, and that we're going to finish the registration and come back to a place where we would have people who are so-called registered, but the details of their registration are fraudulent. I made this point, and the NCA came up with some response to me at the instruction of the ministry that they were going to do mystery shopping and my fears were fanciful. I was rubbished. But here we are. 10 months on, Sam George has been proven to be vindicated. Because I made the point that we had evidence that people were using people's Ghana cards to do multiple registrations without the Ghana card holder's knowledge, and that those ghost cards were being sold. Nothing was done. And Alfred, it goes even beyond that, because in that post, I raised two fundamental security challenges, and I ended up by saying that the future NDC government will have to scrap this entire SIM card register and do another registration.
I see.
That's what I said. There are two reasons why. First and foremost, people's Ghana cards details have literally been stolen. What has happened is identity theft. And you have this happening under the watch of the Ministry for Communications and Digitalization, which is the parent ministry for the Data Protection Commission. Citizens' data and identity has been stolen under a program being organized by the ministry. And when we speak, they won't listen to us. They won't ask us to help with the system, because at the end of the day, we all want a good Ghana. But they will rather call us names. So first and foremost, people's data have been stolen. It's been used to register ghost SIMs. Those SIM cards are in the hands of people. Those cards are being duly registered by the NCA and the ministry. They will be used to perpetrate crime, and innocent citizens sitting in their homes will become the subject of police investigation and harassment for crimes they know nothing about. 1. 2, most of the Ghana cards that are being used by citizens, including people like you, Alfred, if you registered, many Ghanaians went to do their registration in school parks and churches and things. Many of them got to the registration ground before they were asked about their Ghana Post GPS. Many of them had not generated Ghana Post GPS from their homes or from their places of work. And so you have people generating Ghana Post. In fact, it was a whole thing. You pay 5 cedis and they help you generate a Ghana Post GPS at the school park or on the premises of the church or the mosque. And so even today, if it is not a stolen identity and there's a SIM card that has been used for crime, and you actually want to trace the real owner, yes, you may have the data, but the GPS, Ghana Post GPS location you have, when you trace it, it will take you to the school park where the registration was done, not the person's house. Because the Ghana Park system in itself is fundamentally flawed when you wanted to use the GPS system. Because there was no way to verify and authenticate the GPS location. And so you have data in a database that is useless for crime prevention. So unfortunately, we spent so much money, many man hours basically doing nonsense. Forgive my Greek. because there is no value to what the Ghana card. And that's why when I hear people like the Electoral Commission running riot that they will use the Ghana card, I just sit back and laugh. That Ghana card is not foolproof. Conservative estimates put at 63% fraudulent GPS post addresses on the database. 63% of the data that the NIA is holding are of, if you run a synchronization of their data, the GPS post.
I see. So you're saying
about 63% of that data will lead you to school parks and churches and public places where the NIA did this registration. So how do you use that data?
But Mr. Sam George, so you're saying that the only solution you see to this challenge is when the NDC comes, you may have to scrap the entire SIM registration exercise that we've spent money on, and man hours, and people will have to still go through the process again. I mean, couldn't we explore other alternatives?
You can't build on a foundation of straw. This foundation is weak. It is failing. You understand me? It is failing. And so anything you try to build on this particular foundation cannot stand. Because you will begin to have police going to people who are innocent, whose data has been stolen. I would expect the ministry to immediately put out a statement asking citizens to go and check to be sure if there's been a breach of their personal data and the remedies and civil remedies that are available in terms of compensation to any Ghanaian whose data has been mishandled on the instruction of the ministry. And the telcos, the NCA must be clamping down on the telcos in protection of the rights. Any citizen, I've seen this Facebook post of this gentleman who registered 2 SIMs, goes and then wants to register a 3rd SIM, and he's told that 8 other SIMs have been registered.
Indeed.
His data has been stolen. What remedies exist under the Data Protection Act for him? How is he going to be compensated for the blatant like stealing? You can't call it anything. Stealing of his personal data.
Okay, but a staff of the NCA posted something on Facebook, and I'm going to ask that we put that on the screen right now on this matter. And he indicates that, and let's put it up there. He says that the NCA, that's what you see, is actively working on a short code for subscribers to verify the number of SIM cards associated with their Ghana card. That's by one Poku Eduse. Okay, so is this app or the short code going to serve as a solution in any way to this problem where people have their biodata now being used by others to register SIM cards?
You see, it is such a responsibility from the regulator. Forgive my very strong words, but it's because I'm frustrated and angry because we warned that this will happen. We told them it will happen. And I'm not excited to say I told you so because this is personal data of citizens. You get it? But when you have the regulator who is failing to look at the technicalities and rather playing to the political gallery, and this head of legal is the same person who previously, when people were complaining that we should go and beat Gongo. You understand me? So it shouldn't surprise you that he's speaking from a place of very little understanding of the situation. You get me? And so, for me, we have a critical problem on our hands. An app will not solve data theft.
Right.
Proper regulators across the world take breach of personal data very seriously. I think the head of legal, or someone in the legal team at the NCA, the regulator of the space, where evidence is being adduced, a citizen is showing evidence that his data has been stolen by a player under the regulator, and the regulator says they are introducing an app. We should shut down the regulator because they don't know what they're talking about.
We'll have a bit more on this in the coming days.